the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General Fannie Masemola, will host the Interpol Secretary General, Dr. Jürgen, and Interpol General Secretariat delegation on an official visit to South Africa. For more on this now, let's cross to our reporter, Khayelihle Khumalo. Khaya, thank you so much for your time. Of course, just before the break, we, of course, gave our viewers the sense of what is currently transpiring in as far as ISIS intelligence in the country. Perhaps as you just give us more feedback in terms of what to expect in particular to this Interpol, conference, what are law enforcement authorities saying about this particular interception?
Well, most definitely, Unati, when you look at the context of the priorities of Interpol, so it's issues around transnational crimes, cyber crimes as well, but also the issue of counterterrorism is one of the most important issues that the Interpol is working with quite a number of countries, including South Africa, countries in Europe, South America, also in Asia, so many parts of the world, especially in the context of what we saw where the U.S. Treasury released that particular statement where they flagged that at least 2 individuals who are based in South Africa, they've been identified as financiers of terror activities. And as you know, that this is a very big issue for police in terms of the intelligence and combating these activities, but also something that is quite significant here in South Africa. We know of the issues of the rise of the kidnappings, where also the ransom, quite staggering amount of cash are demanded, but also to look at the significance of this meeting. We're joined here by Brigadier Mathe from SAPS. Brigadier, we're just talking about the importance of this meeting where SAPS is working with the global partners in fighting crime.
Absolutely, a very good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. The visit of the Secretary General to the National Central Bureau Pretoria office comes at a time when the South African Police Service is hard at work in intensifying its efforts to prevent and combat transnational organized crime. When you look at the past week alone, we've been hard at work in Limpopo. We shut down a 2 billion rand drug clandestine laboratory. We arrested 5 suspects in that matter. 2 of them are Mexican nationals. Also in the past weekend, we also recovered and confiscated cocaine worth 252 million rand in the Western Cape and Stilbaai during a roadblock. In that particular incident, we arrested 2 suspects, one of them being a Russian national. And just when you look at the history in the past 6 months to a year, we have seized quite a large amount and large number of kilograms of cocaine at the Durban harbours. I think it was more than 1 billion. So that talks to our commitment and our dedication as the SAPS in fighting transnational organized crime. So it comes at a time when we really need to take stock of what we have achieved as the SAPS, but also what more can be done. Where do we need to intensify our efforts? You spoke about the kidnappings that are on the rise. How do we strengthen our efforts? How do we use technology? How do we modernize our capabilities as an organization?
And I suppose, Brigadier, that's a key question. For example, where these massive ransoms are demanded, the kidnappings on the rise. I mean, there was a point where there was a concern for the Portuguese community, but we see just so many people across border. Are you hoping to get more expertise from the likes of Interpol?
Well, absolutely. That is the conversation that is happening behind closed doors on how do we strengthen police cooperation, but how do we then enhance our capabilities to prevent and combat crimes such as kidnappings for ransom. But I must say, in the last 2 years, we have done quite well. We've arrested more than 250 kidnappers in the country that were involved in kidnappings, especially where ransom demands were being made. We do believe in the SAPS. We do have the capacity. We've got the capabilities to fight this particular crime and to combat it. But most importantly, we would like to urge our communities. Communities play a very significant role in assisting the work of the police. So we'd like to really urge our communities to come forward, play an active citizenry role so that together we can combat all forms of criminality in the country.
And obviously, Brigadier, before we let you go, I suppose the elephant in the room, the issue of from so often, every so often, we always get these reports that there might be ISIS cells in South Africa. I would imagine it's one of the issues that you're looking at in terms of dealing with this particular issue.
Absolutely. That is one key issue that will come up in the closed session that is currently underway. But we do know that the Hawks do investigate such crimes. We've got a dedicated unit that looks into such, which is called the Crimes Against the State Unit. So we're quite confident that together, working together, and this kind of a platform will ensure that we strengthen our capabilities in terms of preventing and combating such acts of terrorism or such acts of criminality.
All right. Brigadier Mathe, thank you so much indeed for your time. So, Nathi, that was Brigadier Athlenda Mathe from SAPS, really talking about the array of issues that are being tackled by the Police Commissioner alongside the Secretary General of the Interpol. But also, that Interpol is working with so many countries, whether you're looking at issues around the activation of the red alerts. For example, we do know that the fugitives like the Guptas, Interpol is very instrumental in 2022, in fact, in terms of making sure that those activations are realized. But we'll certainly stay here and we'll keep you posted during the course of the afternoon.